our backs. We're taking a few really good deep breaths, just flowing in and out of the body. Knowing that life can send us stress, life can send us anxiety, life can send us all sorts of things. But if we pause in the midst of even hard emotions to take a couple of deep breaths, we'll be able to meet those hard things with a little bit more grace than we might have otherwise been able to. So starting off, deep, deep breath all the way into the belly. Even slower exhale. Enjoy the breaths in that manner as I take a moment to connect us with our intention for today. Our intention has to do with moving almost like we're in slow motion, trying to slowly step our foot forward and through, trying to slowly lift up to different balancing poses, trying to slowly and progressively challenge our body. Now, this is a class that, depending on where you're at with balance and with certain muscle strength issues, it may be kind of challenging for you. And so, do whatever you need to do to make it easy. If you need to drop down to the knees when we're in a side plank, just going for a kneeling kind of side plank, that's fine. If you need to, step forward and through faster, or drop down to a knee to step a foot through, that's fine. I'll try to guide us through the slow version, but take it with whatever your body's able to handle today, with where your muscles are right now. That's the only place we can travel to in yoga, is where our muscles will take us today. So, but we have this extra intention, trying to go slow, trying to go steady, so that way it's helping us in our life to slow down, to not be so rushed and so, rushing headfirst into a situation that's not conscious. So that's our intention to help us begin. Let's start to bring the knees into the chest for a moment. And just slowly play around with the hips, rocking or doing knee circles. Just nice and slow to give our body a check-in, see how we're feeling right now. Allow this left leg to release, extending all the way long to drop onto the ground. And then right leg gets its chance to stretch all the way up to the sky. We're slowly, progressively taking this leg deeper and deeper. We do this with our breath. And the inhale, we try to lengthen the leg a bit straighter. And the exhale, we try to pull our hands against the leg so that the leg is coming a little bit closer. And just continue the breath like that. Inhales. Exhales. Inhales. Exhales. And gradually this leg is getting slightly deeper. Sometimes I need to walk my hands a bit higher up the leg so that I can continue to pull it in nice and firm. With another beautiful breath in and out. Now right hand continues to hold on to the side of the leg. Left hand drops down to left hip. And then this right leg starts opening as wide to the right as we can take it without the left hip lifting up at all. We'll let the leg travel wide for a moment. Feel the change in the stretch. Good. Bringing the leg all the way back up to the sky. Left hand takes over. Pause when you've tilted it about halfway down to the left. You should be feeling the IT band, the side of the thigh is starting to open. And then either keep the leg straight or bend it as we head it into a nice twist off of that side. Hip starts to return back to the ground, slow motion. The leg straightens back up to the sky, bring it directly into that deepest part of the stretch. And then releasing the hands, we're slowly, with control, lowering the leg back down to touch the ground. Once it's in, the left leg begins to lift all the way up. Hands grab on wherever you can reach. Begin that same breath cycle. Inhale, we're trying to straighten it out a bit deeper. Exhale, try to pull it in even more. Inhale, length. Exhale, tug it in. Slow, steady, continuous flow of the breath. Another good inhale. And exhale, the left hand takes over, right hand drops to the hip. The hip stays very firmly onto the ground as the leg starts to... And remember, you're not just opening, you're also tugging on the leg so that you're feeling the backside of the leg still brought into a very good stretch. Another good breath. Slowly the leg travels back up. It starts to go halfway down to the right. Usually I'll take the right hand to the outside of the ankle to make sure gravity is helping to bring it into that good stretch. And then bending the knee, send the knee all the way into the twist to that side. Or you can keep it straight if that's what you did on the first side. Okay, hips start to return back down. Now this next movement that we're going to do is essentially a way to slow down rolling like a ball. Rolling like a ball, people tend to use momentum to roll all the way up and then rock all the way back. And it can feel really good when we do it that way for the spine. But today, as we're trying to use the core to go slower, what we're going to try to attempt to do is straighten the legs up to the sky, hands either floating or grabbing on, and then slowly the weight of the legs tilts down, and that tilt is helping us to control our way up into a balanced boat pose. Knees bent or not, your preference. And let's try to do that slow rolling like a ball like that. The weight of the legs starts to come back up as we travel slowly onto the spine. And then weight of the legs travels down until we can try to lift the spine up with control. Very slow. Take it as slow as you can. It's as if we put a slow motion camera on us. This is what it would look like. Let's try to take 3 more of these. Trying to slowly float up and back. 2. Keep on breathing. And 1. Good. See if you can slowly lower both legs down to the ground. Float the arms up to reach the long spine upward. Exhale, forward fold over the legs. go all the way up from here. We're adding in a few slow, controlled motions, almost like Pilates. And so we start off with the arms forward, trying to engage the spine really tall. The left hand will start to open as wide as it can, a slow twist all the way to the left, but it's the core that twists us there. It's not the momentum just swinging backwards. And then return back forward with a nice inhale. Exhale, the right hand opens up to a twist. Inhale, return. Let's go 4 more to each side. Left, and return. Three. 3, 2, 2, and 1. And 1. Beautiful. The legs separate open a little bit wider than the mat. The arms start off open, posture's tall once again. We twist over toward the left leg, and on the right pinky finger, slowly with the exhale, we reach literally as far as we can. For me, I'm able to cross the pinky finger past the pinky toe, but if you're not quite that far, just go onto the shin and just cross it however far it can go for you. Inhale back up, exhale, left arm twist to right pinky toe. Inhale back up. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Whichever your first side was, to the left leg for me, go back down onto that side and just hold in the stretch. Rise back up and then go over your second side, hold for that stretch. Beautiful. As we're rising back up, take a nice cross-leg position. If you have the blocks, we're going to bring them off to each of our sides. If not, you're going to use fists or fingers instead, and we're going to try to curl the core up and in, lifting up the hips, maybe lifting up the feet to try to float. So going into this nice rounded, curled, tight position. Try to go maybe 3 or 4 breaths from whenever you get started. Keep the breath flowing in and out of your body. That's the most important thing. And after that 3rd breath, we're setting our blocks on either side of the mat up closer to the top of the mat. If you have them, again, you don't have to have blocks for this class. So setting them there, take a moment to just roll the wrists out. They're going outward in a circle, and then they're going inward in a circle. So both directions, just nice rolls. The fingers trying to trace as large as they could, as if they were a paintbrush trying to go in a wide circle. Good, once more to each direction. And then from here, we're going to go onto hands and knees. We'll place a hand onto each block, again, if you have them. And the blocks are spread wide enough that basically we would be able to take almost like a chaturanga in between them. That's why we're headed shortly. So the blocks for me are just, the edges of the block are just off the edges of the mat. So hands are completely flat onto the blocks, spreading out to create as much surface area as possible. And let's take 3 sets of cat-cow, nice and slow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. 2. Okay, then creating more motion for our cat. We round the hips back, sitting all the way into child's pose. We roll up through the spine until the arch starts to come right over the shoulders, and then we flip it to the cow, bringing heart forward and through. Send the hips back until you can sit all the way onto the feet. Use the entire breath for that. Cat. Inhale, cow, backward. Let's take 3 more to continue to undulate and open up our spine. Exhale. Inhale. 2. And 1. Beautiful. Coming up, rolling back until we're in a nice kneeling plank position. Keep the knees down. We're squeezing the elbows in rather than letting them go wide, lowering our chest and our chin to the ground, sticking the butt up and back. Trying to pause here, still squeezing the elbows in if possible. And then trying to release the hands, grab your hands to clasp behind your back and lift them up into a little stretch. If that's too much for the neck, scoot your hips backwards and just set the whole torso back down. So either way is fine. 3 more breaths. Then setting the hips all the way down, hands find their way back onto the blocks if you have them. And from here, the hands press into the block, using just the strength of the arms to pulse our torso up, not quite to a full arch, just a nice half lift, and then relax the arms, coming back down, chest to the ground. We're doing that pulse 9 times. You should be feeling this in the arms and in the shoulders, as well as the pecs. So if you feel like it's the back lifting you up, you're not using the right muscle group. This is the hands pushing down to find that little arch, and then the hands slowly lowering us. Repeating 8, 7. Make sure you feel the contraction through the arms. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Releasing hands, we're trying to clasp them behind our back again. This time we lift the legs and the arms behind us. If you can't quite do the full clasp, just float the arms by your side like you're flying. Try to lift higher. Still breathing into the belly. Try to lift higher. 1 more breath in. And exhale, bring the hands back down, flat onto the blocks. Try to press up. And then travel into, this time, the downward facing dog. Tucking the toes. Start to lift the hips up. Again, we're still trying to keep the hands on the blocks. Feel the hips lift super, super high. You can have movements. Usually I try to make sure that my weight is set onto the blocks in such a way that I have the most amount of friction with the mat. So this makes it so it's less slidey. 1 more breath, lifting hips up high. And then similar to the cat-cows we were doing earlier, we're going to try to undulate our spine in toward a plank. We flatten out. Take a nice arch, upward facing dog, and then send the hips up to the down dog. Let's repeat that 3 times. So rounding forward to the plank. Take the back bend. And then it's the hips that lift up to down dog. 2 more. Rounding the upper body forward. Arching the hips to lift up. 1 more. Forward. Upward facing dog. And then lift all the way up. Good. Right leg will begin to float all the way up to the sky. Feel that nice high arch. From here, bring the right knee to twist under toward the left elbow. And then extend it back up to the sky. Repeating 2. And up. Good. This time, pause. As we're starting to twist under, we come onto the inside of that back foot. This leg is twisting under. We try to float the left arm up and try to straighten this right leg out to the side. Trying to hold it, this nice strong plank. 1 more good breath. And then the hand comes down. Curl the knee in toward the nose and use that curl to try to slow motion step the foot in between the hands. Once you step it down, drop the back knee down. We're trying to find length through the spine rather than just kind of rounding our hands down. We're trying to straighten our shoulders up, peel the shoulders back. We can absolutely end up with fingertips still on the blocks. We can bring the hands up to the thigh, or we can even circle the arms up to the ears, a nice slight arch back. Feel the stretch through the legs. Begin to plant both hands back down onto the blocks. Tuck the back toes, lifting up that back knee. Slide the back foot in until both heels can be flat. And we brought ourselves right into a nice pyramid pose. Pause here for a moment in the stretch of the front straight leg. From here, we're going to try to shift our weight onto the front leg, float the back leg up toward the shape similar to a nice supported warrior 3. If possible, float the arms up by the hips, lift up the spine, like a floating version of warrior 3, like we're Superwoman. Try to bring the knee in toward the chest with balance. Hands go around this knee, feel the spine lifting up tall. Hands can clasp under the thigh if possible. Start to straighten the leg out in front of you, lifting it as high as possible. Good. Bending that knee, release the hands. The arms are floating by our sides as we tilt forward with the torso. The leg goes back. The hands begin to find their way back down onto the blocks. Gently set the back toes down, slow motion. Try to press the hand into the blocks so firmly that the spine begins to round and lift a little bit. Use that lift to try to lift the front foot up. Send it up into a lifted 3-legged dog. And right foot comes down to the ground. Try to lift the hips up high. Good. From here, roll your spine forward, plank. Drop the hips down, upward facing dog. And then the hips lead us up into downward facing dog. 2 more, rolling forward to plank. Dropping the hips. And down dog. 1 more. From here, left leg starts to float up to the sky. When we bring that left knee in, twist it under toward the right elbow. Lift it back up, three-legged dog. Twist it under and lift. One more time, under and lift. And then this time, twist it under. Come onto the inner arch of the back foot. With that left leg twisting under, right arm is free to float up to the sky. Try to straighten the left leg under and through to the side. Two more breaths. Start to plant the hand down. Bring the knee in toward the nose. Slowly step that left foot in between hands, dropping onto the back knee. We begin to sink the hips forward, straighten the spine, peel the shoulders back. We can absolutely have hands down, hands up to the side, or arms up by the ears, making sure we don't sink the hips back just to bring the arms higher. Sinking forward and through. Good breath, still flowing for us. We calm it down all the way into the belly. Dropping the hands down, tuck the back toes, lift up the back knee, scooting it in about 1.5 feet or so that back heel can be down all the way. Front leg is straightening, we're in pyramid. Tilting our weight forward onto the front leg, the back leg starts to float. Our arms swing up slow motion by our sides. Feel the spine lift. And then gradually bring the knee under and through to float in front of us. Hands try to grab around the knee. Find this balance. Maybe hands under the thigh, trying to straighten and also lift the leg up. Both of those motions at the same time. Good. Slow motion return. We start by bending the knee. Floating back. The arms drop by our sides. The leg comes behind us. Torso tilts forward. Hands return to the block. Slow motion landing of the foot down behind us. And then we push our hand into the block, even rounding the spine up to lift so that we can try to lift the left toes above the ground, floating them into a nice three-legged dog. The foot drops down, the knees drop down. We're either in this high kneeling position or just sitting back onto our feet while we let ourselves take a little break for the wrists. Hands out in front of us. Flex the fingers backwards as far as you can. Straighten the arms in front of you. Try to build that gentle strength with those little tiny muscles through the arm. And start to peel the fingers all the way down the other way, pulling them in as much as they can go. Lifting the fingers up to the sky. Fingers pulling all the way back under and through. Beautiful. As you start to release the straightness of the arms, let the fingers just turn around in the circles like we did before. Rolling all through the wrists. Building from that sequence, we're going to create even a little bit more heat in the body. You're doing awesome. Remember, keep the breath flowing. Take breaks as needed. You're doing great. So let's start off with a downward facing dog. Hands firmly on the blocks if you have them. Tuck the toes, lift the hips up high. For this one, We're going to send the left leg up first. And then that lift of the left leg is going to naturally turn us toward the side plank with the right foot down. So this time we're coming to the outer edge of that right foot. Float the left fingers up to the sky, even bending the left knee. Try to float it all the way up. We're lifting high. Maybe finding straightening. Remember, the hips lift closer to the down dog shape than the full side plank shape. Take another good breath. And then send that left hand down to the block. Slowly step that left foot directly under and through. The back heel rotates down to be onto the ground. And then we slowly rise the fingertips up through Warrior One. Slowly open through Warrior Two. Sink the weight down into the hips. We start to allow the left fingertips to aim toward that left block, setting the whole palm down if we can make its way there. The right arm trying to float directly upward to the sky. Shorten the stance of the back leg, sitting in about a foot. And from that position, push the front foot into the ground to find the back foot lifting. Left fingers can scoot forward about a foot on the ground. Happy in pose. You can always grab a block if you need to for that hand. And to lift everything up tall, the foot especially pushes into the ground to create the lift of the rest of the body. From this half moon pose, we're going to try to float the left hand off the ground. So the back leg needs to take a little bit of the weight of our body backwards. And we're floating kind of like a star up to the sky. Continue to gradually bring ourselves to face forward. This right knee floating out in front of us. This time without hands, we're trying to kick that right leg all the way forward, nice and strong. Try to lift it. Lots of strength in the body. Another good breath to lift. And exhale. Send it under and through like you're going through the Warrior Three. Maybe arms swing up by the ears this time. Good. Plant the hands down onto the blocks. Gently land the back toes. Push into the blocks, finding that round in the spine so that we can slowly lift that left leg up, sending it next to the right foot. We're in plank position. You can always drop down to kneeling plank. We're trying to shift forward to lower chaturanga. Go directly up into upward facing dog. And downward facing dog. Great work. All of that on the second side. So we start with the right leg floating. Keep it lifted, even bending through that knee. As we start to shift onto the side of that left foot, left hand staying down, right hand floating up. Find this nice balanced posture. The top knee can be bent, or maybe straightening more like a star pose. 2 more breaths. Gently we land the hand down, pop up onto the back toes, slow motion, step that foot under and through. Once it's there, the back heel rotates all the way down. We inhale, floating the arms up through Warrior One, slow motion. Exhale, rotate open, Warrior Two, trying to sink low through the hips. The right fingers begin to make their way toward the right block. You can always have tented fingers instead if you don't have the block. The shoulders try to peel back so that this top hand can be stacked. We're trying to find a way to slow motion shift to half moon pose. So oftentimes I'll scoot the back foot in about a foot. From there, my front foot needs to start pushing into the ground. That push allows the back foot to start floating up. The right fingers extend forward about a foot on the ground. I'm still feeling my shoulders open. Trying to lift up to the star pose, the back leg becomes a little bit heavier. That helps our torso lift. Trying to find this floating star position. And then start to square the hips forward, bringing the left knee up. Find your balance, and then try to lift the knee as you kick the leg forward. No hands if possible. Another good breath, bend the knee. Send it back through warrior three, maybe arms swing up by the ears. Hands go down onto blocks. Gently land the back toes. Push the hands into the blocks, finding the round through the spine to help lift the right toes. Sending that right foot next to the left foot. Try to shift forward, lowering chaturanga. And then shift to the upward facing dog. And downward facing dog. Good, gazing forward, step walk or jump yourself all the way up to the top of the mat. If you do have the blocks, see if you can find yourself pressing the hands into the blocks firmly to help lift the hips up into this beautiful forward fold shape. Obviously with the blocks, if you need to bump them higher to find that press, that's beautiful. This one's almost like you could imagine, even just in your mind, the image of you one day pressing so hard that your hips are able to lift and just flip up into a nice handstand. Just enjoy a couple of extra breaths, finding that gentle push to lift the core and the hips up as much as you can. Completely relax for an inhale and exhale. Inhale, rise. Hands come down to the heart. This next couple of poses are largely just a play time, and so just know that if you can only do the very first thing that I do, that's great. Just play with that for a little while. We're standing on the left foot. The right ankle comes up onto that left thigh, and then we start to sit our hips back. So if this is where you're at, even holding onto the wall, that's okay. If you're here in this posture and you're able to lower elbows down toward that shin, take that. Maybe hands can lower down to the blocks. And then the last step, just for fun, if you can get all the way there, finding the hands pushing into the blocks, start to feel that the heel on the ground can start to float, and we can sit down onto that heel, finding a fun little balance shape. Now this is the fun part where trying to find the balance comes from a lift from your spinal column and from your core. So what we're trying to do is work fewer and fewer fingers onto the blocks. Maybe one hand can come up to our heart, maybe both. Kind of a funky little balance challenge, stretching the toes as well. When you're finished on that side, find the hands back, pushing into the block. Try to use that push to help us come up as smoothly as possible. It's okay if you lose it. Drop both legs back straight and just relax the spine for this one. Next inhale helps us float up. Exhale down to the heart. Second side, we're standing on the right foot. Left ankle comes up. Maybe this is where we stay. Maybe we start to sit hips back, dropping elbows closer to the thigh. Maybe hands can plant flat on the blocks. Maybe we push the hands in the blocks to help the back leg, the back heel start to float. Trying to find this low squat position. Fewer and fewer fingers down if possible. Maybe you get a brief moment with both hands at the heart. Maybe not, that's okay too. Good. When you're ready to come up, hands are on the blocks, shift the weight back, finding the heel, dropping the foot down, take an inhale, and exhale, inhale, rise. Good. Building on to that, one more little balance challenge, and then the rest of our class is just good little stretches. And so we're standing back onto the left foot, the right ankle coming up. Again, this version is perfectly fine if this is where you're building some work and some steadiness in your body. From here, if we can plant the hands all the way to the blocks, try to plant both hands to the blocks, scooting them in just a little bit, and start to play with maybe trying to set the knee and the front of the foot directly onto our elbows or triceps. So trying to set it up in that position. We imagine one day being able to tilt forward more like a chaturanga, trying to float the back foot up. Beautiful little arm balance. I'm not quite there yet. Working on the strength of the chaturanga. But just imagine, it's like a crow pose. You're setting your foot there, and then the back leg just starts to float. So find the arms pushing into the ground to feel like you have a little bit less weight on the heel. Take another good inhale. Exhale. Try to smoothly raise up wherever you're at. Drop the right foot down. Second side right away. We're taking the left ankle up. Maybe balancing here, maybe planting hands down. And maybe we're trying to play with setting this side up onto the triceps. Tilting forward. Feel your hands press. Feel the strength of them. Feel less weight onto that back foot. Another good inhale. And exhale, find yourself rising. Drop the foot down. You can scoot the blocks off the mat. We're finished with them for now. Inhale, circle the arms up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. And exhale, hands down. Still walker jump to plank. Take a flow. And a nice downward facing dog. To help out the hip stretch from where we just were, float the right leg up to the sky. And take pigeon pose, sending the side of the knee under and through. The back knee scoots backwards to get our pelvis closer to the ground. You're welcome to stay up on hands. You're welcome to drop down to elbows. Maybe even rest the forehead down. Feel the body temperature start to drop as we're getting cooler. Starting to slow down our beautiful practice that we got to play with today. And feel in your body and in your breath and in your temperature right now, feel how slow is not necessarily easier. Oftentimes we think, oh, slow means, it's going to be an easy day. But feel how you're feeling right now. It does take work, it does take effort to go slowly. And that's the same in our life. And that's probably why we tend to just rush into conclusions. We tend to just rush our situations. It's largely because in our life, it's actually easier to just go fast and to just do it. But this slow has a very special quality. It's stronger, it's more powerful, I think, in the end. But it takes that conscious effort because the body just wants to do what it's going to do. Let's take another beautiful breath, just enjoying this pigeon pose. And then heading up to a downward facing dog. Plant the hands, tuck the back toes. Try to lift directly up, three-legged dog. Float the right leg to help stretch that hip out. Maybe some of us want one last little flow, shifting through chaturanga, lowering down, back bend, And downward facing dog. Pigeon pose, second side, left leg floats. Send it under and through. The back knee scoots back as we drop downward onto elbows. And can you slow your breath even more? Taking good deep inhales through the nose, down into the belly. But the exhale is even slower. That's a little trick that I have when I'm say going to a situation where I need to get my blood pressure taken. And just knowing that that cuff going around my arm is going to make my blood pressure spike and my heart rate increase. Just knowing that about myself, I'll purposely, breathe into my nose, take it nice and slow, but then the exhale is extremely slow. And that's a little trick that we have to slow down our heart to help ourselves face a situation with more clarity and more calmness. So feel that in your body for a few rounds. Inhale, slow. Exhale, slower. Back toes, lift up the knee, take one last downward facing dog, feeling that left leg stretch. We drop down onto knees, we drop down onto hips. Let's take a beautiful cobbler's pose, feeling the spine lift tall, knees opening, and we tilt forward, just relaxing forward and through. Lifting the spine back up, we're scooting our feet forward so that we've got a nice diamond shape in our legs. The knees can be slightly lifted, and we've got some space behind us to roll back onto. So if you need to scoot slightly forward, that's great. From here, we're going to do little tiny pulses so that this is literally the slowest we've ever rolled it down onto our backs. So bring the arms to float out in front of you. And we're going to slowly travel back. It's like 3 steps forward and then 2 steps back. So we pulse back up slightly. And then 3 steps forward, going just a little bit further than before. 2 steps back, coming slightly up higher. 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. Just continue these pulses, follow your breath. Exhales, inhales. Maybe after the next couple of cycles, you're starting to get some vertebrae to touch the ground, and then pulsing back up. Let's take 5 more cycles to complete us. 5, and then back up a little bit. 4, slightly deeper, and back up. 3, back up. 2, back up. Last one, we get to relax. If there's any last postures your body really wants to take, Maybe a little twist of both knees to the sides, to the left and to the right, that's fine. Maybe a moment with happy baby or plow pose. Even taking a full 30, 45 seconds or so to help the body feel complete, absolutely happy after everything that we've just done today. If you do have the blocks, you have an option in your Shavasana today to bring a block to help prop up each leg in the cobbler's pose. So if you want to play with that, that's great. Again, if you don't have blocks, it's not necessary. You could just do normal cobbler, or you could simply extend the legs forward. Absolutely your preference. No need to put any pressure on you to conform into any shape. Make sure your body is completely comfortable so that you can take your deep inhales and longer exhales. And that simple process of breathing is going to help us transition into this beautiful Shavasana time right here, right now. Again, slow is our game today, and so it's a slow process that brings us back out. Begin to deepen your inhales. Deepen your exhales. Even enjoying another sip of breath in, very deep. Exhaling even slower. Fingertips slowly begin to move. Traveling up the wrists. Up to the shoulders, arms stretching up overhead. Extend the legs straight, starting to wiggle toes and ankles. Body getting pulled very long. And eventually here, we start to head over into a beautiful fetal position. Relaxing all the way onto our side. Take one more huge breath into the body. Slower exhale. And then we eventually press our way up toward a beautiful seated position. With hands joining together in front of the heart from here, we make this promise to ourselves. Today, no matter what life throws at me, I promise to take it a little bit slower than I might normally do. I promise to be slightly less reactive, slightly more conscious, and just slow down a little bit more. So with this intention to help lead us in toward a beautiful day, let's begin to wrap up our time that we got to share together with the sound of Om. Inhaling together now. Om. May we be filled with light and happiness and peace. Namaste.